Alright, let's get into it. Forex is done. Let's get into some crypto. Happy Monday, in case I haven't said it yet. Let's see how the market is looking. Oh yeah, so we had this. So we're in a high time frame range. That's our context. High time frame range. We're bearish on the hourly, we're bearish on the 4 hour, we're bearish across the board here. And then what I had done is I had outlined our market structure high on the 1 hour, which was right here. And we have since then SFP'd our market structure high right here. However, we have left some demand below, which will be interesting too. I mean, not interesting, but something that we should take note of. So we're kind of in this like awkward space where we're bouncing in between a few levels. We've SFP'd an hourly high, and we are also leaving demand below. So it's kind of like, where are we going to go? I feel like we will bounce off some demand first before we continue to break structure. If we break structure on the hourly. Just be mindful that there is a lot of demand below still. So I don't think we're gonna, you never know, like whether we get a bounce all the way up into this supply maybe, or we just continue to like mitigate this demand then and do something like this and then just drop, mitigate this, come up, I don't know. Or we just bounce off this and then just start doing this slow move up, mitigate that, break, mitigate that, and then up again. This 3-day OBIF is kind of like just outside the range, so it's not like it's within, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we what we do here. But for now, we're SFPing this market structure high on the hourly, so when we get an SFP, we expect a rotation back down, which is kind of what I think is going to happen. Let's see what USDT is doing. It is going back into the range, so has there been any form of market structure breaks in here? I think there has. I think we're no longer bullish on the hourly. Am I right or am I wrong? Okay, so we are actually we're still bullish on the hourly. That's our hourly low right there. So everything else remains, yeah. Remains as is, really, like realistically. Yeah, expect all to go lower for now. Context is still lower. ETH has kind of proven this by running through this demand right below and disrespecting it completely. We can still get a pullback into, you know, into some part of this range. We have broken structure on the hourly. We've also created demand blows and I think mitigated the demand blows as well. So ETH is looking not bad. Yeah, ETH's actually looking not bad here. And then is this valid? Not really. However, this is valid. Like ever so slightly. So yeah. You kind of do have some demand below. So at least in the short term, we can see ETH reclaim this range, I would like to think. I genuinely think ETH has the potential to reclaim this range. Yeah. Is there supply in here holding it back? Maybe a little bit up here. Even here, yeah. It has kind of entered a supply POI right now, and it's reacted from it pretty well. And then we also have some more local supply in here. So yeah, there is like reasons for price to reject, or there are POIs where price is allowed to reject. But yeah, like ETH right now has a broken structure on the hourly and is bullish on the hourly. So for now, this is bullish on the early. Will it break it back down because of this supply? It could. But for now, like contextually speaking, alt still yell lower. So just be mindful of that. Yeah. And we have a 2 hourly market structure low right there. So that remains as is. Yeah, so the same thing. It's just whether we bounce off supply, which we're kind of bouncing off supply right now, and we continue to go lower. So that is possible. And yeah, USDT dominance is, as much as it is pulling back into the range, it's still on a nice hourly uptrend. So that's fine. And it has like pushed up quite aggressively. So it's natural to expect a pullback and then continuation at least to this potential tab 3 before we can then start, potentially forming a rotation through the range low. Let me quickly check GBP/USD before I go into all my alts. And then this range has now been officially invalidated. Perfect. And yeah, the candle closure here will be important because it will. We're a while away from an hourly candle close there. Still got 49 minutes to go. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I do think we will though, however, mitigate this supply above. All right, let's continue with alts. So context is look for shorts. I have a feeling that we might have a nice local distribution potentially form here on TON. That would be rather lovely. We'll set our alerts, of course. We've mitigated demand as well, so there's nothing else really holding price from going. Oh, we're getting all alerts now. You can allow this as a potential range, but it's not something I'd necessarily, there's also demand below, so like already this is just not too of interest to me personally, but and then I was just going to remind myself the context. Yeah, like the context is bearish, so we can definitely get a distribution here, but there is demand below, so just be careful of that. Where were we? Let's continue. Oh, and then I had an oil alert as well. Let me quickly double check this. All right, this is now invalid. Perfect, that's fine. Yeah, so Ton looks fine as is. Are there any POIs here? Not of interest to me. If there was, it's kind of all been mitigated, as you can see. Like there is, you can technically say this is extreme liquidity. That's fine. Like, yeah, I'm happy to use this. And as we know, like, equal highs in crypto are a pretty decent liquidity target, so So yeah, that is my extreme liquidity POI for TON. Let's keep moving, and we can see a compression here on Asta. I'm pretty confident I know where this is going to go, and we've had more alerts come up. GBPNZD, let's have a look what's happening there. We've just mitigated demand. Nothing of interest at the moment, other than a very, very local model there. And then gold. Yeah, we can use this as a distribution. Yeah, it's kind of just an alert for price action for silver, for gold, sorry. The PO3 here is definitely not confirmed at the moment. Give me a second, guys. I'm just going to bear with me. Right, testing. All right, testing. I hope you guys can still hear me now. There's been a few interruptions, but nevertheless, we will continue. All right, so we had an alert on gold. All right, I think now you can hear me. Testing. All right, that should be fine. All right, we had the alert on gold. Plan here was I was looking for a PO3, which so far hasn't really happened. Yeah, this was the range. And then that got invalidated, so I'm not too interested in that at the moment. Let's continue our crypto market check, because that's what we are here for. So yeah, as I was saying earlier, we have a beautiful compression on Asta. Where do I think it's going to go? Probably pretty close to that demand. Yeah, compression's decent. Yeah, compression's decent. So what I think is going to happen here is essentially we can get like the first move, fake move, like that to, you know, psych out retail, and then we can get a dump back into demand. I do feel like we're going to end up going to this demand pretty soon. Another alert on GBP/USD. What was happening there? Okay, so we're hitting supply at the moment. Yeah, so the supply here, I can deem that as valid. Like, it's valid supply, but what I will do is have a look on the lower time frame. Okay, regardless, it's been mitigated anyway. So that's no longer of interest to us. Yeah, essentially with Asta here, I'm just looking for this demand to get mitigated. It's a small compression anyway, so it's not as crucial. And then also you got to realize that this whole kind of move has just been one just terrible range, so don't expect too much to happen here. All right, let's move on. Let's look for render. Same thing, compression can be seen here. Similar thing here to Asta, first move, fake move to mitigate the supply. Can expect something like this. Bang, bang. Flush down. Context is very, very important. And you have also something to note on a render. We have beautiful, beautiful liquidity here. Like, this is something that will most likely get taken out. And yeah, it aligns with the context, so. All right, let's have a look at hype. Yeah, and with hype here, I'm kind of just still waiting for this demand to get mitigated first before I decide to potentially look at a distribution. Like something like that. Yeah, and then we had a little cheeky accumulation there. Not a whole lot I'm interested in Tau. In hype, sorry. In Tau. Yeah. Like, same thing, guys. Like, just think about the context. Context is bearish, so just look for bearish moves. This could be actually okay. I don't mind what this looks like, how this looks like. Big wig, but this could actually be quite decent structure supply on the very, very low time frame. So should this be valid? It has been like ever so slightly mitigated, but I will allow it. This is also supply which has been mitigated, so this is much more refined supply. And then you have, that's not too valid because it is an inside bar candle. In terms of extreme liquidity, like, it's not the most clean, to be completely honest. And it's technically already like a 3-tap model, but it's just leaving behind a nice return to zone for that extra 4th tap. Yeah, like this 3rd tap hasn't actually grabbed anything, so it's not something I don't necessarily like it. You can, if you really want, you can use this as extreme supply. Like, you can. I will allow that, and yeah, and then you can say that this could maybe be a extended tap. Based on this supply right here. Which, yeah, like, I'll allow. I will allow. Yeah, it's fine. That is structure supply stack counts. So yeah, plan here. If we can get like the return to zone into this extended 4th tap is actually really, really nice. So if we can get a mitigation and a strong break of structure back down, then I'm essentially very happy to short this. So we will see what happens. All right, excuse me for a moment, guys. I just have to take something out of the oven. I'll be back right away. All right. So yeah, plan remains the same. The one thing that's going to prevent me, or I'm not going to look at potentially shorting here, is if we leave behind demand. Like, yes, we have left behind a fair value gap, if you will, but so far it's not necessarily demand as per se. Yeah, and the liquidity is nice, so I'll leave this as is. yeah, stick to the plan, and we'll see what happens upon mitigation of this supply. Let's have a look at virtual. Virtual looks like sort of similar. Well, this is kind of already ripping through supply. So this is showing signs of strength at the moment. There is a little bit of demand there. Yeah, it's already kind of looking to be invalid, and as we've said before many times, if the second that sweeps this, we need a Model 1 or nothing. It's essentially Model 1 or nothing. And if I was to look at the distance between tab 1 and 2, 13 hours, and then tab 2 to current, 13 hours, yeah. Yeah, it's already, I'm just gonna sack this off altogether. I'm not too fond on this model at all. Let me have a quick look at Tau once more. Yeah, so Tau's fine. I'll allow Tau. So far this is a very valid extended model. Pump, not so much. Just for that time perspective. Yeah, you've already exceeded the time on that as well, so let's have a look at Pump Fun. The thing is, Pump Fun is in a valid it's becoming a valid accumulation, but it's so counter context. It is incredibly counter context. Yeah, I'm not really interested in anything at the moment for Pump Fun, to be completely honest. It's it's developing a highly counter context range. No return to zone, like with not a whole lot I'm interested in there. Same thing, like counter context accumulation range, just leave that as is. Cake as well. I'm not even going to look at that as supply because it's done absolutely nothing. If this supply grabbed the highest to the left, then yeah, I'll be able to look at this as supply, but the supply is just pointless supply. It's just in between a downtrend. Yeah, it's like same thing. We're forming a potential accumulation. It is counter context, but it's an accumulation. What could you use as extreme liquidity here? So you have extreme liquidity and extreme demand. This is our extreme liquidity. And now where was the extreme demand? I think it was on the 45. Yep. Not valid on the hourly. All right, leaving that as is. Same thing, this is pretty much becoming invalid. Maybe a PO3 opportunity here, I don't think so. We're leaving quite a nice sell side liquidity behind us or below us. Maybe we get a little local distribution scalp here. That can happen. I will allow that. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that as is. Same thing for Doge. It is coming back within range, so this might be like Lycon didn't exactly make it into its range. Or actually, as a matter of fact, this is actually invalid now. I'm no longer interested in that. I'm not interested in that either, as this was kind of the completed range. Never mind, it wasn't. 2-tap only. Yeah, I mean, look, nevertheless, we can actually distribute here locally. Very much so. Boom. BNB, same thing. Like, I feel like there's a lot of potential distributions forming at the moment. I would just like a better return to zone on this one as per se. Yeah, a better return to zone would be nice, but it is what it is. The one thing I do like about this is that Unless I stand correct. I was going to say the one thing I do like about this is that there's no real buy-side liquidity. But there kind of is if you look at it from a lower time frame perspective. Yeah. Honestly, like, not a lot. So yeah, you can say there's no real buy-side liquidity there. So given that, we can expect a potential distribution and go lower. Let me just quickly summarize this again. Doge, yeah, that looks fine. Litecoin looks fine. Cake, nothing interesting there. Same thing with, it's kind of just like reclaiming that zone, so I'm not interested in pulling a distribution like model there, or a little distribution range. Similar to Pump Fund. Like, it might look okay, low time frame, but it's kind of just reclaiming that range. Virtual, however, what's going on here? I think I may have missed this. Like, this supply has been mitigated on the lower time frame. Yeah, it has. But you do have this right here, which unless this has been mitigated, and it hasn't. So that's actually really, that's perfect. Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to overlap. Like, it is supply and it is there. I will happily allow this. Let me just see where it, okay, never mind. This has been mitigated. All right. Yeah, therefore no supply here. So boom. Yeah, it's always preferred if there is some POI that, you know, price can grab, but that might not always necessarily be the case. Let's continue. BNB with Link, sorry. Yeah, like Link has reclaimed the range. There is supply above, like decent supply above. There's no real POI here than just liquidity, so we can go higher. Quant, not too interested in XMR. Not too interested in XMR either, to be honest. We've also got supply above. Alright, let's have a look at Sol. I'm not really interested. It's reclaiming its range. XRP is also reclaiming its range. Pepe, it swept this liquidity, but I feel like Pepe could actually be okay because, sorry, not liquidity, it swept this POI. Pepe could actually be interesting because it's not really in any form of range. Like, it just isn't. So I feel like you could potentially scalp a little distribution here. I would actually be very much leaning towards a Pepe distribution in this market. And we've also mitigated supply there. Perfect. Yeah. I will actually quite happily take a Pepe short here, guys. So what I'll do, I will move this to the... And yes, there is demand here, but like the overall context is saying lower. So I will move Pepe to the top. Let's have a look at Farcoin. Farcoin, honestly, I would say it's in a similar boat. Let's see what it looks like on the low time frame. That's been grabbed. There is an inefficiency here which has been filled. Yeah, like honestly, I'd kind of say Farcoin can be in the same boat. Excellent. I can already see a potential accumulation model there, but it's just there's demand below. It's counter context. I'm not really interested in it. Aave, not really interested in Aave either. And also, we're so close to demand below. Equal lows here, which is always a nice liquidity target, as you guys know. So this could be interesting. Another, like, once again, all these ranges are just potentials. Like, we haven't even got a second tap yet. There's just so many potential ranges forming at the moment. Alerts have been set on this. I think I looked at Aave. Yes, Bitcoin Cash is just going to go lower probably, and it is. Yeah, that's it for crypto. So just to summarize real quick. So we got off to a bit of a shaky start, if you will, but potential range on Sui, potential range on Ton. Asta is just compressing. Leave it, let it do its thing. Render is also kind of compressing. Like, let that do its thing as well. Hype. And then yeah, Tau is our potential main option, so we can move that up and just pay really close attention to what happens in this, what happens upon mitigation of this supply. If we get the mitigation of the supply, because we might not necessarily get the mitigation of supply, or we could just run through altogether. So yeah, just be patient, see what happens. Move on to the next. Ton as well. Yeah, and then this is kind of just like the others that we've spoken about. Asta is compressing. Compressing. And then yeah, the rest is just a whole lot of potential ranges. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Cake's leaving demand behind, interestingly enough. Probably will get mitigated, and it's not the biggest or clearest demand POI either. It's just sitting there. But yeah, look, other than that, like what we've spoken about, we can move that to the top. So yeah, there'll probably be a few alerts going off fairly soon. But other than that, guys, just yeah, be patient. Stay disciplined. And yeah, that is it. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this. I hope you've all gained a little bit of, I guess, just idea of where we are contextually speaking right now. Once again, alts I'm expecting lower, Bitcoin I'm expecting lower. We've SFP'd this high. We might SFP it again, and to be completely honest, we're doing the same. We're creating the same price action here as well. So that's also something to monitor. And then if we look at USDT dominance, yeah, we're still quite bullish here. So yeah, that's it for today. I will see you all on tomorrow's analysis. There will be an analysis tomorrow. And yeah, see you all soon. Peace.